these are the 25 books I said I wanted to read in 2025. So let's go ahead and wrap them up. I want to go ahead and preface this by saying this is 24. So this isn't exactly 25. There is one book I had on here. I found out the author is problematic. So I did not read the book and I did sell it. So I don't have it. I'm not going to talk about it. But I just wanted to make that clear because there are 24 books here. So let's go ahead and run through them in no particular order, whatever order they're in. Patsy by Nicole Dennis Benn. I like this one. I didn't really care for the main character because I felt like she was kind of selfish. So she left Jamaica and came to America. She told her daughter that she was going to come to America, give her a better life. Now, she did run into some trouble in America because she's an immigrant. She was trying to get all of that sorted. But we're kind of following her now and her journey in the past as well. And essentially, she never wanted to be a mom. So she felt like now that she was away from her child, she had the opportunity to be selfish and do what she wanted for her, which I'm all for moms taking care of themselves, putting themselves first in certain situations. However, even while putting yourself first, I think you have to think about the well-being and what's best for your child. And she just didn't care. She didn't care. She went to America and said, forget that girl. She didn't even call her child. It was so bothersome to me. And I wanted to sympathize with her, but it was like, girl, we're grown. You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe you didn't want to be a mom, but you made the decision to be so. And so we kind of have to deal with that, you know? And so I didn't like that, but I definitely liked the conversations that were being had about immigration. I liked how that played out because I feel like people think that everyone in America who is not from here came here illegally, and that's just not the case. So I really liked that aspect of it and showing how hard it is. So I enjoyed that, but the main character really pissed me off. She rubbed me the wrong way. I Am Watching You by Teresa Driscoll. This one followed a woman who sees something on the train and she felt like she should intervene, but she didn't. And then one of the girls went missing. So we're following it a year later when the girl is still missing. We're following the witness POV. We're following the girl's dad. We're following the PI. I forgot who else, but this book felt very flat to me. I just thought it was kind of slow, drawn out, and whoever it was in the end, I felt like that was thrown out there as well because it didn't feel like we had any lead up to who it was. And that to me is not an effective twist. It's just kind of like, okay, I guess. And so I didn't really love this one. I don't remember where they rated it, somewhere around 3.5, but it was just okay. I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. Now this one was my second book by her and it kind of disappointed me. Now that's not to say it's a bad book. I enjoyed this book. It follows, enjoyed is actually being very much generous. I didn't mind it. It was okay. It wasn't bad. But follows a couple who I believe was engaged and they separated because something happened and they are now at this cabin with their friends, but they didn't realize the other one was gonna be there. And so now they're in this forced proximity with each other and they're having to confront their feelings and whatever happened in the past. Now, I feel like I've said this before, I don't really care for second chance romances because usually there's a reason why y'all broke up. Even if it's small to me, that to me is an issue as well, because if we can't even work out a small issue, if we broke up because of a small issue, we don't need to be together. We don't need to be together. And if we broke up because of a big issue, then all the more reasons for us to not be together. I don't know. So I don't care for second chance romances, especially when I feel like the reasons are dumb. And I felt like the reason in here was dumb. And so for that, it just wasn't one of my favorite. And we also like the story more follows in the past of their relationship and what led up to the breakup, more so than the now. Now it did talk between both, but I don't know, I just didn't love it. Reading Book Lovers by her and then reading this one after, it was disappointing, but not bad. I think I gave it like 4. So look, I'm very generous with the stars, so not bad, but it just was disappointed because I was in such a high from Book Lovers. I didn't read it right after the other, but still. If He Had Been With Me by Lauren Nolan, this is a YA romance. Now, yes, it is a romance because the two characters in here do have feelings for each other, but the entirety of the book, she is with a different guy. So I felt like that was weird. Like, maybe if she was with the guy for like half or whatever, and then got with the one that she felt like was her person, that would be fine. But the entirety was her in a relationship with another boy while regrettably being so. I don't know. It wasn't regrettably. I shouldn't say that, because I don't think she regretted dating him. I think she truly did love the other guy. She just really loved her best friend. Like her best friend was her soulmate, essentially. And so I didn't love that. I felt like we were watching a different love story than the one that we should have been. And I'm like, which is fine. If it was the other story, cool. But like the ones we're supposed to be following, I'm like, meh. And then I can't give away the ending, but something happens right when they get together. And I'm like, no. And to my understanding, the second book is from the best friend's perspective. And I'm like, why would we need that? Like, I have no interest to read that second book because it's the same story, just a different perspective. We could have had it in the same book. Like, why would we need that? Legend Born by Tracy Dion. This is actually my second fantasy book I think I've read this year, and I really enjoyed this one. What I really liked about this one, now I'm not going to talk about the magic system or whatnot because I'm not well versed in fantasy to even be talking about that, but what I liked about this book was that it immediately jumped into action. I felt like we were immediately enthralled in something happening, and I really liked that. I felt like it kept my attention the whole time. I really liked some of the side characters. I thought the book was very good. I enjoyed it. I need to read book 2. I still don't have it and I still haven't read it, but I really enjoyed this one. As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This one's the last book in a Good Girls Guide trilogy, and I enjoyed it. Now, I feel like the whole trilogy didn't need to happen necessarily. Like, sometimes we could just do one book and be done. But Pip is gonna do what Pip does, and that's get into some mess. But I really like the way it ended. I really did. Now, I can't say how it ended, but just know I enjoyed that it ended, and I sided with Pip because to me, what someone did and what Pip did, it's about the same. In my opinion, it's about the same. So I enjoyed this one, quick YA thriller, and it was good. 5 Brothers by Penelope Douglas. This one is about a girl who quite literally fucks 5 brothers. I actually think she fucks 4 of the brothers, not 5. Yeah, there is 5 brothers, but I don't think she had sexual intercourse with all 5. I think it was just 4. But this book is thick for what it is. It's just her hanging out with these brothers and doing the whoop-de-whoop. It kind of, now I read this one first, right? But it kind of had similar premise to Flock in that it's a girl hanging around guys and having to have a relationship with multiple of them and then kind of deciding who she wants to be with in the end. It kind of had similar vibes. So if you like Flock, you may like this. I wish there was a better reason for why she was doing all of them, because they all lived in the same house, and it wasn't like she was dating one, broke up with her. I don't know. It was just like she was moving from room to room. I think I would have understood it more had there been a better reason, and maybe had she been older as well. Like, I feel like she was young to be doing that. But other than that, it wasn't bad. Family Remains by Lisa Jewell. Now, this one is the sequel to The Family Upstairs. It's a duology, and I liked how this book ended. Now, I can't talk about this book because it directly follows the first one. Just know there's like a culty vibe going on, but I really enjoyed this one a lot more than the first one. I felt like it moved faster. It was, I don't know, just better in my opinion. But I love Lisa Jewell. She's one of my favorite thriller authors. So I'm gonna read anything she writes. Okay, I enjoy this. Unquiet Bones by Loris Ann White. I actually just finished this month. So it's fresh in my brain, fresh. So this one had a lot of characters. Now, we didn't get every character's POV, thank God, but there was so many characters in there in the beginning, and it felt a little overwhelmed because I was like, what? And some of the characters' name was kind of close, not super close, but like we were talking about Jill and Jane and Kara and Clara, and it was so many characters, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to really pay attention. But this one follows a detective who is pregnant, who happens to have lost her husband. He's not dead, at least they don't know. He's missing. They don't know what's happening with him. So she's like dealing with, you know, the feelings of not knowing where he is while working on this case. So a body is uncovered under a church, and it looks like the body had been buried for like years, like 30, 40 years. And so they're trying to figure out when the body was buried, who the body belongs to, and give the family some peace as to what's going on. And we're also following these 6 adults, grown people. They're like 50s, 60s or whatever. But when they were younger, they did something called the Shoreview 6. So it's like 6 of them that were friends that did something. They were questioned by the police at the time, got away with God knows what, and they've stuck to their story ever since. Ever since the body is uncovered, they're now scared, and they're like, this has nothing to do with us, right? Does it? And so, yeah, I liked the second half of it better than I liked the first half. The first half was very much murder mystery. I don't really vibe with those. I like more thrill rather than just mystery. The second half of the book gave me the thrills a little bit more. I did not love how it ended as far as like emotionally, but I did like how the author wrapped it up. So overall, I think I gave it 4 stars. So not a bad read. It was just a slow start. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This one follows a ghostwriter who sees ghosts, who starts dating a ghost. Like, that's all it is. And that's really all it was. Like, I didn't really care about the characters. I liked the aspect of like grief and letting your loved one go and seeing them pass. Like, I like that more so than the romance. It just was kind of like meh to me. I think I gave this 3, maybe 3.5 or something. I don't know. But I just didn't really love this book at all. And I was actually disappointed because I thought maybe I would really enjoy this. And I just didn't enjoy it as much as I did, as much as I thought. So that was disappointing. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Now this one made up for Happy Place. I thought this one was a lot better. We're following 2 friends. We're following their now timeline and their past timeline. In the past, they met and they're constantly going on vacation with each other. In the now, something happened on one of those vacations where they're kind of no longer friends, but they decided to reach out and, hey, let's go on another vacation together. Obviously, they realize they've always had feelings for each other, so there's that. Yeah, I mean, ain't too much about the book, really. Like, I just thought it was good. It was a fun time. I like the quirkiness in both of the characters. And so, yeah. One True Lust by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I really enjoyed this book a lot. This one follows a woman whose husband went on a helicopter ride. The helicopter goes down and he is perceived dead for 2 to 3 years. She moves on to a new man and she's now engaged to this man. And then her husband calls her and lets her know he's still alive and he's coming home. So she is toggled between relationship that she had with her husband, because they were very much in love when he left, and the relationship she has now with her fiance. But also at the same time, her husband, he doesn't know her now, you know? She's really trying to decide where her heart is and where she wants to be as far as the future goes. I really like that the men kind of gave her space to like come to that decision on her own. But overall, I thought this book was good. Where He Can't Find You by Darcy Coates. This basically gives me Stranger Things vibe. So if you're into Stranger Things, I think you'll really like this book. There's some kids in the neighborhood who thinks there is a serial killer because kids are going missing. And they think it's this particular man who lives there. And so they're like stalking his house and trying to figure out what happened. It does get a little like, I want to say paranormal-esque. So it's a bunch of kids going places they shouldn't be going, trying to solve mysteries they have no business doing. So it's very much Stranger Things vibe. But there is a scene in here where they are in somewhere, and I'm like, I feel like I can see the characters in Stranger Things being in that exact same scene, and it would fit right in. So very much Stranger Things vibe. The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. Now, this one disappointed me a little bit. This book was so slow. I thought it was going to be so much better. So it immediately opens up with a young girl. I want to say she's like 8 or 9. Immediately opens up with her killing a boy. She like strangles the shit out of him. Okay. And she's kind of odd. Like, she wants to be involved with the police. She wants them to question her. She wants to ask them questions. So every time somebody's talking about the boy, she's like, I know what happened. But obviously she's not telling people what happened because she doesn't really want to go to jail. She just wants to be a part of it. Like, a very odd kid, right? And so we're also following her now. And now she has a new name. She has a child of her own, and she's really trying to turn her life around. So we're seeing both timelines with her in the past, her now. There was no twist. There was no thrill. It was just a story about a girl who did a bad thing when she was young and her trying to do the best she can now. It was so slow. So slow. I think I gave this 4 stars, and now if that's what I gave it, I'm thinking about it and it may be lowered. I don't know, but it just was not a bad story. Just wasn't very thriller, if that makes sense. A Pocket Full of Posies by Sean Sarles. I DNF'd this book. I think I DNF'd it at 40%. So it follows this girl who left her friend. They were trespassing or doing something they weren't supposed to do, and the cops came and she ran, left her friend. And so she was like, what's going on? Where's my friend? Oh my God, she's gonna be so mad. Well, hell yeah, you left her. And so her friend texts her and is like, you're dead to me, right? I don't want to talk to you. Fine. Her family ends up moving anyway, like the main character. Her family moves to a new town, and she goes to the school where they're now wearing uniforms, and they have like these traditions, and everybody in the community kind of knows each other. And I can't say too much because I mean, that's pretty much where I've gotten like some weird stuff starts happening where I am, but I'm like, I have no interest in continue. And also I'm curious as to if the best friend meant anything or if it was just like showing us why she was excited for leaving the town. I don't know, but either way, I did not care about it and I DNF'd it. So I can't tell you if it's good or not. I'm just only gonna tell you I had no interest in continuing it because the story, I mean, I was halfway through and not much of anything happened at all. I was like, oh. And I think maybe this is a horror, and I'm starting to realize that horrors just aren't for me because like the words on page don't evoke too much emotions unless it's like love really, because I love love and I love seeing people fall in love. But like, so if it's just you depicting scary stuff, it does nothing for me. It doesn't scare me. But at the same time, there's no like thrilling aspect to it. I want to be anxiety induced when I'm reading a book, and I don't get that from horror. So I'm starting to think that they're just not my, it's just not my genre. But anyway, those are the 24 technically books. That is 24, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 15 books. I have the whole other stack over here. Thank God I counted. Okay, I'll try to be quick with these since I was acting up. So I read Out of Body by Nia Davenport, and this one is essentially a Freaky Friday situation, but more than that, it's like jumping bodies. So this girl is friends with another girl, and at a party they kind of get high and then they end up switching bodies. So while she's in her body, she's obviously going to where the girl lives and sleeps, and so she's uncovering that maybe there's more to her friend than she actually thought. I really enjoy this one. So Nia Davenport actually is N.E. Davenport. So I want to read her new fantasy, Our Vicious Oath? Is that what it's called? Our Vicious Bonds? Don't quote me on that. But I enjoyed this book so much. I really did. It's a YA thriller. Thought it was fantastic. The Chaperone by M. Hendricks. This is a dystopian novel where girls, the minute they get their period, they get a chaperone. They're not to be without their chaperone. And the world is weird. It's like silencing women. They can't speak. They can't question authority. It just is what it is. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. The Attic Child by Lola J. I really love this one so much. This one is one of my favorite historical fiction novels. So we're following Celestine, I believe is his name. His name was Dembe when he lived in Congo. They changed his name to Celestine. Now we're following him. He gets brought from Congo to work for this white man. He was under the impression that he was gonna work for like a couple of weeks, go home with money. When he gets there, he was told that all his family had been slaughtered and there's no home to go back to. He ends up being locked in an attic, and he can only come out like to clean and do certain things. And so we watch him and it's very sad. But then like years later, there is this other girl who then gets locked in the same attic, and she kind of sees carvings on the wall that he left. She sees something else, and so she tries, when she gets older, she starts like trying to uncover who was in the attic, why he was there, and it just was phenomenal. I thought this was so well done. And every time I talk about this book, my husband's like, oh, that's the book that should be a movie. So it is that good. Chaos at the Throne by Afia Clark. Now this one is her debut novel, and I thought it was really good, especially for a debut novel. Now this one is a fantasy. It's about two siblings. They get called to the kingdom along with other young adults to essentially fight for a chance to marry the prince and the princess. They don't care about that. They don't want to marry the prince and the princess. They don't want to be royalty. However, there's something like different about them. But while they're there fighting for the prince and the princess, they get money every month that they last. So if they're not eliminated, you know, they continue to rack up cash, and that's essentially what their plan is. But when they get there, they quickly realize that the kingdom is now going into war, and that's literally why they wanted to find partners for the prince and the princess. They also want a specific type of partner, one that could help them defend the kingdom, and I thought it was good. Now, I think she's since republished it, because there was some parts in here where there was like, it was capitalized like they were yelling, but the yelling was coming out of nowhere. And I addressed that in a video, and she said that other people said that as well. So she did republish it, so that way that was not the case. So I think it would be a lot better now if you were to read it. But I thought it was good. This was a great debut novel. I love her. She's so sweet. She's a Caribbean author. Love her down. Don't Cry for Me by Daniel Black. This one was another great read as well. This one is a contemporary fiction about a dad. He did not accept the fact that his son was gay, and so they never had a real relationship. Now that the dad is on his deathbed, he has decided to write letters to his son to let him know why he felt that way, but also let him know how he feels now and how he feels about his son. Ultimately, like, he loved him, you know? And so, and we don't get to see the son read the letters in here. There is a second book called Isaac's Song, which is him reading the letters. So I still haven't read that, but I need to. But I thought this was very good. Well done. That's probably the only book by a man that I've read in this stack, actually. They Always Come Back by Bailey Thomas. Now, this one is the author's debut novel as well. This one follows a young girl who meets a guy, and she's like immediately like smitten by him. He is such a terrible guy. He's essentially like a fuckboy, right? So he sucks, but she just keeps going after him. And he keeps like showing her he is not a good guy. And she just keeps trying to pursue him because maybe, just maybe if he really sees her, then he'll realize that he's supposed to be with her. Well, there's a point in the book where he almost sexually assaults her. And she still comes back and tries to pursue him. And I was like, please. And she is young. She's like 22, 23. So I was trying to like understand, but I was like, oh my gosh, she just kept making so many dumb decisions. And I almost felt like the author did it on purpose to be frustrated. But I actually think she said, now that I think about it, I think she said she writes books based off of her life. And I was like, please tell me you did not. Oh my goodness, please. Okay, anyway, I'll stop talking about it. But it was an okay read. It was just really frustrating FMC. Blockshot by Kennedy Ryan. And this one is the second book in the Hoop series. I enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. It's my least favorite in the series, however, but it was still very good. This one follows Banner and Jared, is that his name? Yeah, Jared. And they're both in the sports industry. He plays basketball. She's like, I think, a manager or some sort. And they kind of had a thing when they were in college, but they separated due to some miscommunication. And now that they're older, they're back in each other's lives. And so it's a second chance romance. This one I felt like I forgave the second chance, because I'm like, even though it was miscommunication, I'm like, you know what? They were never together. So I can forget. I can let y'all be together now that you're older. But overall, it was good. Oh, great. I shouldn't say good. I should say great. Hookshot. Oh, I love this book so much. This one does have childhood sexual assault. It does talk about that. So with any Canadian Ryan books, you should definitely check your trigger warnings. But this one was fantastic. This one followed Lotus, who is Iris's cousin. Iris is the FMC in the first book. And Keenan, yeah. Now, their story, I feel like, was so beautiful because they took time to become friends and give each other the space to be and heal while still being there for each other. And that was just so beautiful. I don't annotate my books. I don't, but if I did, this would be one that I annotated. There were some beautiful lines in here. Beautiful. Oh my God, I enjoyed it. I love this book so much. And lastly, The Stolen Hours by Alan Eskins. I love this thriller. It's a courtroom drama. And we're following like a detective. We're also following the serial killer. Like, he gets caught. They're trying to find the evidence to convict him. And he's like, you may think it's me, but can you prove it's me? So he's very cocky, but I thought this book was so good, well done. And there's something sick about me that absolutely loves being in the mind of a serial killer. I don't know what it is, but if you write from that perspective, I'm gonna eat it up every time. every time. But this book was very good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, that is the 24 books that I said I wanted to read in 2025. And I did read all of them, so I'm proud, minus the one I DNF'd and the other one that I sold. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these or if you plan on reading any of these. Let me know. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate and love every one of you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Happy reading. Bye.